In Jordan Peele's Nope. Nope is Jordan Peele's fourth feature debut. He has come off, a lot of great films, especially. Well, he did Keanu.
Keanu.
He didn't direct Keanu though.
I think he did direct Keanu.
No, he didn't. He
thought
wrote it. The guy who directed most of Key and Peele directed Keanu.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So my mistake. So it is his third film. Okay, my mistake. So
you wouldn't want to piss off that YouTube commenter.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So it's his third feature film here, after films like Get Out and Us. Of course, Get Out for Jordan Peele, which is his first film, was a massive success, cultural phenomenon, critical acclaim, praise throughout. And I would say,
winner.
Oscar winner. And I would say his career post Get Out has been, for some people, maybe you can say mixed. Us came out, and Us was somewhat divisive. Some people really like it. Some people didn't really like it. I fall more on the side of kind of liking it. I think Us has some major issues with it, but I'm not in love with that movie, maybe like some people are. Then I heard about his Twilight Zone series that Jordan Peele produced, which I'd never seen, but I've heard kind of really negative things about it with some people.
It's got some classic episodes in there. They're like 3 classic episodes over the 2 seasons.
Yeah. So I haven't seen it myself, so I can't really judge. Also, he did co-write Candyman, which was the kind of sequel reboot they did for the series, directed by Nia DaCosta. Again, that was kind of similar thing. Some people were kind of mixed on that with that series with Candyman, which, again, I liked it. I fall more on the side of liking Candyman myself. But yeah, I know some people are kind of mixed on that film as well. But here with Nope. Nope seems to be a very divisive film as well with some people. I've seen some people really love it. Some people really hate it. I did a early reaction to it coming out of the theater, and I thought it was a solid movie. It's a movie that I think, you really got to mold and kind of really think about more and more as you kind of, after you've seen it. But yes, in this film, and we're doing a non-spoiler review of this film, just in case you didn't want to go, you're worried about spoilers. We're doing a non-spoiler review of this, and I'll try not to.
Somebody hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah, I know Nick hasn't seen it, so we're gonna try not to go into too much spoiler territory there. So in this film, it has Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer. Daniel Kaluuya, who Jordan Peele described as his Robert De Niro in this film, and they play owners of a horse ranch, a black-owned Hollywood horse ranch there, where they get, they work with horses and rent them out to different studios, working on different films. A situation happens where it forces the Keke Palmer character, who is the sister of Daniel Kaluuya, to come back into the life and come back into the ranch. And in order to save the ranch, they have to kind of raise some money and try to come up with a way to get money to save it. And a strange incident starts to happen to them where they think they can get the money. So I'm trying to be as vague as possible with some of this stuff, just in case you guys don't want to know that much about it. But that's kind of the general setup of it. You also have characters like Steven Yeun, who's in this movie, who's a person that hopes to buy the ranch from Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer's characters. Daniel Kaluuya in this movie, whose name is OJ, and Keke Palmer, whose character's name is Emerald in the movie. So with this movie, Jenna's back. I will first off.
My computer's like super hot. It's over you.
Oh, okay.
That's how hot it is.
Okay.
With this movie, I will say it is really gorgeous. Really good looking movie. Jordan Peele shot this movie on the same cameras that Christopher Nolan used. So if you can, I would recommend going to see it on a really, IMAX screen if you can. Really go to a great theater to really get that full experience, because when they do shots, when they're looking up into the sky, where you see the mountains and the kind of the desert, it does look very, very good. I will say that about the movie. I think the performances from Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer are very good. Daniel Kaluuya in this movie, he's playing a person who's kind of extremely antisocial. You know what I mean? Doesn't even rarely look people in the eye, kind of looks down. Somebody that, after an incident happens, he kind of has to take more charge of the business, and you see how kind of he's floundering kind of at the situation and doesn't really know what to do. But his sister is one of the, his Keke Palmer is way more of the outgoing type of character. Who really is the personality, who really sells people in a lot of things. I would say I love both of their performances, especially Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer, who I think has been having, me and Hunter talked about it, has been having a good few years. Really,
He really has.
From this movie, Lightyear. Even though I was kind of mid, I thought like it was kind of mid. I thought her character was good. I thought she was cute in the movie. I thought also like Hustler, she was good in.
She's great in Hustlers.
So she's been having a nice few years, popping up and
Yeah.
stuff.
She's one of the better parts of that Ryan Murphy show, Scream Queens.
Yep, Screen Queens as well. She's very funny and very dynamic, and she's got a lot of personality. And I did really enjoy seeing the both of them in this movie. And also you have some good side characters. Like I said, I mentioned Stephen Yeun's character. There's also a character called Angel in here who helps them, assist them. And there's also a character who's played by Michael Wincott, who's a cinematographer, who plays a cinematographer in the movie. Who he's got that deep gravel, that deep voice that he comes in here. He was the villain in the Crow film with Brandon Lee.
Brandon Pereira plays Angel.
Brandon Pereira.
Michael's point.
Yeah. So I know a lot of you guys have a lot to say about this movie. Jenna, I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah. Where do we even start? Well, I'll say this. After sitting on this film, which you have to do with a lot of Jordan Peele's films, I have appreciated it a lot more. I'm a huge Jordan Peele fan. Let me just say that. I'm also not a snob. I'm not a cinema snob. I'm always good for good trimmers, a good leprechaun in space. I also love things like Interstellar. I don't need things to be explicitly spelled out for me, and I can go in and enjoy a movie for what it is. And I appreciate Jordan Peele's. He's a true artist. Like, he does not care what you think. He's gonna give you his film. You take it or you leave it. You know what I mean? And I really aspire to be that confident, that dedicated, and just that committed to my work. That when you take certain risks with certain storytelling mechanics and certain filmmaking choices, regardless of whether you're not here to please the fans, you're here to tell a story. And that's one thing I do enjoy about his films. I do think that the love this film is getting is way too much. I don't think it's like the greatest movie ever made. It's actually my least favorite from him so far. This movie, I'm mad you put me on Front Street because I was going to wait to go last. I was going to let everybody go and have all those good things to say before I fucking rip this movie to shreds. For me, I got all the things. I figured out what the alien was in the first part of this film. I figured it out. I got all the little visual cues because I'm primed for how Jordan Peele explains his motifs in his films. He's a very
Jenna kind of froze there for a second. Hunter, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think that's God doing his work because he was so wrong. Yeah, this movie's great. It's I will agree with her on one aspect. I don't know if I like this more than Us, so I own Us. I dig Us quite a bit. It's not Get Out. I think it's something entirely different, and I really appreciate what he brought to that. This is more on the less plot heavy side, and I think that's why people aren't gonna like it. And I think people are gonna have issues with that. But to sound like a total snob, and I'm completely fine with that. One thing that it's already really irritating me about the discourse around this film is I don't think people are really giving it enough attention. So, like, for example, there's a point where I guess I know we're going on spoilers. I'll be very vague, but where OJ is riding riding one of their horses, and they're being chased by this entity, and and what's really funny about that is that he's wearing a hoodie that says "crew" on the back of it, and I won't spoil the movie that uh, that's from, but it's this movie that I went, really? You helped out on that movie? That's random, but it's really funny. But the fact that he's doing this action heavy thing uh, while wearing a crew sweatshirt, really just kind of drives home the point that, hey, Ricky Gervais actually made the joke years ago at the Golden Globes that, like, you're not a star, no one wants to hear from, a producer or stuntman. And, everyone laughed, but it's like, unfortunately, that's how Hollywood is structured. The people who are in front of the camera, the stars are the one who make Hollywood. The people who do the people even who do the score are really don't get nearly enough credit at points that I think they deserve, and it's really quite frustrating. So the movie making one, that being one of the points that the movie makes is something I went, I really fucking dig that. This is not a spoiler because it's really early on in the film. There's this point where OJ is talking to this movie star about how they train the horse and everything. And of course, these people aren't fucking listening because why would you listen to someone who does this shit for a living? And and um and they really brush past OJ and his family's history in a way that's so dismissive, and it's nothing but white people. So it's very much a like a you see what they're doing, and so there are these moments like that in the film where I'm going, okay, dude, I'm appreciating what you're saying and the way you're saying it. I will say the first, I'll say 20 minutes or so, it's a lot of setup. So if you're not paying attention for the first 20 minutes, I don't think you're going to get as much out of it, as the film goes on. Also, you could have trimmed about 10-15 minutes from this. I won't say that. I think that's completely fair. I think this could have been a lean 2 hours easily. But at the same time, though, I was never looking at my phone like going like, "Oh God, this is dragging." But I just I can think of a few scenes where I'm like, "You could have cut this, cut this, cut this." But to your point, Kiki Palmer is absolutely incredible in this. She is a standout in the movie. She has this energy. She's kind of like a lightning bolt. She just lights up every scene she's in because the movie by default intentionally is having Daniel Kaluuya's character OJ be in this really dark place, a sunken place, but being like really, being depressed because of this tragedy that happened, and it takes a hell of an actor to say things with their silence, and I think there are so many points where Daniel Kaluuya is able to do that, and you go, wow, like he's able to speak volumes without saying anything. And their sibling rivalry, because there is some definite, some history between the two of them. And so the
Yeah.
fact they get into that a little bit, I went, okay, you're talking about, black generational trauma as well in weaving this throughout a horror film. It's like, okay, Peel. There are some themes here that people are just gonna fucking miss. And I'm already seeing on Twitter, and it's so frustrating that people just won't pay attention to a fucking movie because I'm seeing a lot of that of, oh, I got bored in this movie. It's like, okay, are you paying attention in the movie or are you looking at your phone? Because the people that were sitting around me, they were looking at their phone. I'm like, well, why even come to a movie if you're not going to, pay attention? I pay attention during fucking Minions. I wasn't happy about that shit. But like, if you're going to see a movie, like, give it your fucking attention. But this is going to be a divisive film, and I get it to an extent, but at the same time, we're in this point where I'm hearing people go, well, I don't want to be spoon fed, during a movie. And then when a movie asks you to think, then people are going, well, I don't want to think in my movies. It's like, well, which one is it? Do you want to put work in, or do you just want to be, or do you just want to kind of lay back? And this is a movie that's going to ask its audience to think and to go ahead and actually dig a little bit. And I think if you do that, you're gonna get a great experience with it. Again, this isn't Get Out. Like, I don't think he'll ever make a film like Get Out again. And I kind of think we need to get out of that mindset with Peele. Like, like stop. Everything he's doing is supposed to be different. I mean, I hate that I'm going to make this comparison, but Hitchcock was the same way. Like Hitchcock made it a point to go ahead and make diverse, different fucking films, and you didn't have people going like, "Oh my god, The Bird sucks. It's not like Psycho." Like take everything as its own fucking thing. But I think this is a great movie. It's it's just not Get Out. Like that's its biggest issue, if you want to call it that, is that it's not Get Out. Hey.
I don't know, because I didn't. I am so glad you said that though, high key for real, because I wasn't expecting Get Out from this either. Like I don't. I'm so glad you said that because I was actually getting irritated when people say that too. Like Jay-Z said it best. You want my shit? Go get my old album. You feel me? Like you want my old shit? Go listen to my old album. You feel me? Like Jordan Peele. That's why I said he's gonna give you what the fuck he's gonna give you, and bitch, you better take it. Like we came for an
Yeah.
experience. Enjoy it. And I'm not saying this is like the worst film ever because the Black Phone, I walked out on that shit. That shit
Really?
was trash.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Oh
The
shit.
Black Phone was horrible.
Oh
That shit,
Nick, like
bruh, that movie was dumb as fuck. But like,
damn.
I'm sorry, no, that movie was horrible. But again, I think the boring. Okay, I'll speak for myself. The boring part was more so the pacing of the film. Like, I actually wish this was an actual series. I think this conceptually would work better as like a mini series, not necessarily a film. Just because I feel like I normally don't ask for backstories with characters, but I feel like Daniel Kaluuya and Kiki Palmer, because they were so critical to like anchoring the emotional beats in the story, I really wanted to get more nitty gritty into their dynamics, especially because like Kiki Palmer's queer, right? But that's kind of like glossed over. And then you have Daniel Kaluuya who represents like black masculinity and how that's like on its way out. And how like you again you have all these things motifs that this lovely young man, this beautiful Justice League shirt has brought up that you will miss because if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it. But I felt like the dynamics between their siblinghood, it's less about her being independent and more about passing on kind of like the generational wealth almost, or kind of like passing on the torch. Because Daniel Kaluuya represented a masculinity within black men that was dying, just like his father. No pun implied. But it's like he represented Daniel Kaluuya knew he was on his way out. You know what I mean? Kind of like he knew his type of presentation of blackness within that type of iteration. And you can talk about this in film. I can go on and on. It's deep. Like this movie is deep. But I felt like that dynamic between them, and then Kiki Palmer kind of being now the person who represents this generation of folks to carry this on, this legacy, which I feel like this film was more about legacy, if anything, that black people leave in film and so forth. I just feel like that got lost in translation because we just didn't get a real like build between these two characters. Like they bicker, they banter, whatever, but like at the end of the day, high key, what happened to Daniel Kaluuya at the end of the movie, I was just like, okay. Like I just didn't really care too much for any of these characters on the low. Like
Oh, see, but the thing is though, even if you don't care about the characters, you can look at this simply as a fable. And that's another point I'm bringing up about this film is like you don't need your characters to always have these deep, intensive backstories. Sometimes the characters are simply there to serve what the point of the actual film is, and I think that's the case with this movie. I got just enough about the characters to give a shit. It's really funny,
it
quite a bit of the
is.
time, which
It
was something
is.
I was like, that's like, I'm just realizing too, I need subtitles in all my movies. Like, I'm just getting old on that front. I'm just like, I sit in the theater, I'm like, there's no subtitles. I hate this shit. Like it,
Yeah.
but, but, but I really do love their banter. Steven Yeun's character, his backstory is
Oh,
one of these things that drives the whole film. And when you figure out what's going on, it's one of those, oh shit, sort
Yeah.
of moments, and it's heartbreaking because what it says about him as a character and what it says about us us what it says about us as a society is such a dark like oh, like because you'll see it, and Nick, I look forward to you seeing this because you're gonna see it and go, oh, that's what the character, and then you're gonna have this moment that I did probably like halfway through, and you're gonna go, oh, but that character represents the oh fuck, and then you're gonna get infinitely more sad because what the movie's saying, and it's a harsh dose of reality that I'm not a big horror guy because I hate being scared. You know, I'm black. I can walk outside. That's scary enough. But but but
Okay, I feel bad for chuckling.
but I love the fact that horror, very much like great comic books, can go ahead and provide social commentary in a way that other genres can't. Sci-fi too, and Peele draws from several. I won't say what the influences are, but they are obvious as far as the sci-fi influences. Like there is this one shot um where OJ is standing out with one of the horses and they're looking out in the night, and the way the clouds look, it's haunting how the clouds look in this. Like if the clouds looked as scary as Galactus did in that second Fantastic Four movie, people wouldn't have bitched so much. Like the clouds are terrifying in this. Like it's like and like I can't think of a time, maybe ever, that I've seen scenes at night shot like this. Like it's creepy, and that is one thing that Peel. I'll make again making the
I
comparison
mean, you gotta
Hitchcock.
get back to
But
the cinematographer though. Don't give it
oh,
all
oh,
to Peel.
oh,
The
no, no,
cinematography in here,
I, I,
like that white
I,
boy did his fucking thing in this movie for real.
I reviewed this for my show last night, and I shouted out the cinematographer specifically. He did an excellent
Mhm.
fucking job, and it's one of
Mhm.
these. There's so many shots in here that I went, I would really like a frame. Like I would just like a poster of this. Like I would really like a
Yeah.
shot of this movie, or a shot, or a shot of this frame, or a shot of this frame. But there are
Yeah.
so many moments where you're just on edge. Like there are multiple points where I'm like, I was sitting in my seat and I'm like, okay, this is really uncomfortable. I don't like this shit. And there is one clue that they leave for how they kind of wrap up like what the plot is in the last bit that I went, that's fucking clever. I didn't even think about that. Like it's one of those things that the movie kind of almost does the look over here, and then when they bring it back up, you're like, oh, god damn it, okay. Like I was like, okay, Peel, like I see you. Um, the score too. I think the score is excellent. That's a score I'll be listening to quite a bit, but overall for me, I mean, guess I'll just wrap up. It's it's right there with Us for me, where the atmosphere of the film for me works so freaking well, and I know enough about the characters to go, okay, I'm actually caring about you if you're in peril, but also I'm curious on the individual mini journey that you're going on and how your mini journeys used to go ahead and explain some social commentary. It works for me in a way that I go, yeah, I look forward to rewatching this because I enjoyed Us the first time I watched it. I felt I enjoyed it way more the second time. So I'm actually looking forward to watching this again. But
Mhm.
um, I would just say give this movie, like, honestly, give this movie a fair shake. This won't be for everybody because atmospheric horror. Like when I think about something like again, not a big horror guy, but I think about The Conjuring. The Conjuring is like a great example of just setting the tone of horror, like, and you're on edge the whole time. And pretty much from the 20-minute mark on, the movie just has you going, all right, like anything could pop up anytime. That's fucking horrifying because this movie uses horror not just in nighttime but during the day, so you never feel safe, which is a subtle thing, but it's like, oh, okay, I can't let my guard down. So I think this will be something people revisit in a couple years and actually appreciate more once the hype has died down a little bit. But
Yeah.
And that's how film Twitter goes.
Interesting. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have a good diverse opinions on this movie, because a movie being divisive You're going to get interesting concepts of things of what people think something means and another person's opinion on what something means. Like you see it with Jenna, you see it with Hunter, and examine the movie. I didn't even see that point of Jenna made about looking at Daniel Kaluuya's character of masculinity. I didn't even look at it like that. So it's great to have kind of these different perspectives coming on this movie, and I think it makes it interesting. Even though, like I said with the movie Us, I wasn't really too much of a fan of it. I thought it was just okay for me. Loved the performance from Lupita Nyong'o. And kind of other elements. I just think all those ideas didn't really mesh together all that well, and then there were some just kind of issues plot wise and story wise that kind of just didn't all come together.
I absolutely love Us, but it kind of falls apart if you spend longer than 5 minutes thinking about it.
Yeah, but there's some cool stuff there. I mean, there's some like with the two
Hey, that's
families.
this film. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, there's some good stuff there.
There's other plot points that aren't answered.
And with like Nope, I think Nope is better than Us. And then with Get Out, obviously, like we said, he knocked it out of the park, and then after that, everybody was kind of looking at him and going like, okay, what's next? What's going to be your next Get Out? What's going to be this next film? And maybe you won't have a film as great as that, and that's okay. And maybe you'll have other different things because Get Out was such a lightning in a bottle, type of thing, and I think a lot about that film was just it's so how tightly it was written and the structure of it, and how everything kind of played into each other. And I don't think this film is as good as that, but I think it's as good as Nope. I think it's good in its own right. I think the look of the film is good. I think the score, as Hunter mentioned, is good. I think especially when there's a scene where Dan Kaluuya's riding the horse and the score starts to really ramp up. I think it's very good. I love that scene of it. I think that the design of the antagonist, the entity, was a very interesting kind of design. I thought that was kind of unique.
Dug it.
I thought that
That
was
was a
kind of
flying
unique.
vagina. It was a flying vagina.
You okay? I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the look of it.
Oh,
Well,
that was
well,
like-
you are what you eat. Is that what you're saying? Or like what?
I was like, oh my god, am I watching like a Freudian psychological take on?
I mean,
on
Jordan Peele's
I
a
don't
big
know.
brother. Maybe.
Yeah, right. It was just, I don't know, man. Like I want to jerk off to it so bad. I
Wow.
need something to jerk off to.
Okay.
Whoa.
I just can't like.
I'm
I
not
don't
ready to
know.
take a hit.
It's something about
Man.
you know what it is. What I love about Jordan Peele is that everything is intentional, which is why I think it does deserve its praise. Like, go see it. Like, this is not the worst film of 2020, not even by a long shot. I'll be watching again just because I actually enjoyed it. I don't think it's a great like I said, the hype a little too high, but the antagonist itself and what it's supposed to represent, and then the films that it clearly rips from, because it's not just paying homage. This film is like ripping from Spielberg-esque. It's a lot.
A lot of Jaws,
I
Signs.
I think that's strong.
No,
Hey.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Come on with the
Yo,
light. Don't
One of us,
play.
one
No,
of us
dude,
haven't seen
fucking
it.
spoiling.
What? No, I'm not.
That's
I'm not
why I
spoiling
said
it.
no. That's why I
You
didn't
can't
mention what
spoil
movie
this movie.
inspired.
There's no way you
Ah,
can spoil
you
it.
can. Like
Can you?
you can, yeah. Because if you haven't seen it, you don't know what happens. So by default, you can
True.
spoil it.
Well, that's why I'm like, well, me saying Close Encounters isn't a spoiler. It's just representing like the type of, because this isn't really a horror film, to be honest with you. This is, to me, it's a thriller. Actually, it's a notch to Alfred Hitchcock. I could name a whole bunch of directors in type of sci-fi, War of the World. Like this, that's the genre it fits. But I'm not giving away any plot points. But to me, it was just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. Again, it's like he everything is so planned out. It's all intentional, all his choices. So yeah, you can have fun paying attention to it. But again, it's just like, bro, I don't know if it was like the type of weed he was smoking when he wrote this, but to me, it just didn't. All the concepts in here didn't really coherently come together. Similarly, it's ironic, but you talk about Us is the issues I have with this film.
Mm.
Us was just your standard, typical horror movie points, which I enjoy. But I think all the concepts in this film just do not come together. I feel like it's really bloated, and for it to be 2 hours long and to get that type of resolution, it was just like it's great. Yeah, I get it, but I felt like again this actually deserves a longer treatment. I feel like this needs to be a series. I just felt like this really would have worked better, more drawn out, so we could have gotten more to this film from the characters, the world building. There's actually a lack of world building in here, which I'm very surprised at. Like the way that they switch to, I guess, reality when they leave that area they're in, when they go to like an inner city, it just doesn't. It just doesn't like plot wise. It just doesn't really make any sense. Like
Yeah.
you would think that people would have a reaction to this since everyone knows what's going on, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Um,
just not. It just has too many plot holes for me to like be super into it.
so I see some of the stuff you're saying as far as plot goes, and when it, more stuff starts to happen, especially like a big incident that involves Stephen Yeun's character, you go like, why wasn't there a bigger reaction to that? You know what I mean? And like, as far as this film being taken, is it over the course of a week, days? You know what I mean? As far as that goes, I thought some of that was an issue. With Stephen Yeun's character, they do some backstory with him that I do believe does play into the story. Some people say that it's too much of an excursion that kind of maybe doesn't go all that go anywhere all that much.
No, not at
But
all.
I think I think it's a pretty good thing they do with his character, even though he's not in the movie a whole lot. You know what I mean? I do think it's good stuff they do with kind of his character and the backstory with that type of stuff. I thought that was well done. I do think it plays into the film. When it comes to interesting characters, like I said, I do like Dan Kaluuya and Keke Palmer's character and their relationship. I think when Hunter mentioned that just the looks and that Daniel Kaluuya has, that he gives so much even with not saying much. I don't know, maybe that's just me reading into it too much, but I think he does give a lot of a performance, through his emotions, just through his face and looks and everything like that, and see that the relationship between him and Keke Palmer is kind of been strained over these years, and I think that's kind of played out between the two of them. You didn't need to have a scene where they said like, "Well, you left and you never came back," or you know what I mean, the stereotypical kind of stuff that maybe happens in movies like that, where there's that plot line. And so I thought that was there, and I thought them and people are also looking for like the message. With Jordan Peele movies, everybody's looking at what's the big message of the movie and what's going to be this new thing. And there is a message here, I think, in Nope. And it'll be interesting to talk to numerous of different people to try to decipher, what they think that message is. For me, I thought the big message of this movie was just like behavior, and spectacle, and when it comes to human behavior and other types of behavior that kind of comes there. I thought that was kind of one of the big things in the movie. And with the kind of the entity that kind of comes in here, the antagonist or threat, I did like it wasn't kind of very traditional in the way it kind of was, in the way it acted. Which I thought was also kind of very unique. And yeah, you could say that also it's a movie that wears its inspirations on its sleeve, as Jen is talking about, where it very much gets it. And you'll see a lot of people who go like, well, it's this or it's that or it's this like this other movie. It's a lot of this other movie. And I could see that as well. For me, it didn't really drag it that down because I think, as Hunter mentioned, while his other films like Get Out and Us were very, very much plot driven, I think this is very much character driven. And this is very much about hanging around with these characters, trying to accomplish something and trying to really do something kind of special. What do you guys, any reaction to that?
Yeah. Um, I go back to the trust your audience thing. Like I really keep going back to that because this is his least plot. Like you could boil it down as simply as two siblings are looking out for this thing. You could boil it down that simply if you wanted to, and there's not like twists and turns in that. It can be that simple. It really is more the messages enhancing the plot more than the other way around. And again, I just think that some people just aren't gonna vibe with that, which is fine. some people don't like the sun, but I but I feel like again
I'm
this is I really do feel like this is something that if you go in and Josh ironically like unintentionally said it earlier, people were saying what's his next Get Out gonna be. He's not gonna have another Get Out. We need to
yes,
stop thinking about that shit. Like
let it go.
separate each thing, take each project as as it is. That's what you should do for any artist anyway, unless
Mhm.
it's a direct sequel. So it's one of those things where he looked to make his most atmospheric horror film. That's what he set
Mhm.
out to do.
Mhm.
And for me, he absolutely accomplishes that goal. Again, I do agree on the front that I think it could be 15 minutes shorter. I think you can get this down to 2 hours, but at the same time, there were no significant drags for me as I was watching it. So, um, uh, grade wise, crap. Um, sorry, remind me. What's above stream it?
It's a
Tune in,
two.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would give like Get Out, obviously like a high tune in. I'd give Us like a low tune in, and I'd give this like a low tune in. Like I don't know which one I like more. I'm actually gonna probably need to rewatch this again just to kind of figure that out. But I enjoy the hell out of all three films for different reasons. But it could have been a little shorter. But uh, oh my god, the atmosphere in this movie alone is so worth seeing it just for that reason. I saw this. I saw this yesterday, and just some of the shots, like it's such a pretty movie. Like just off that
Yeah,
alone, I'm like, I need to own this just because of that. But
yeah.
yeah, it's not
Shout
perfect.
out to that. Yeah, shout out to that cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema. He
Yeah,
works with Chris. He's worked with Christopher Nolan on all of his movies
I knew
past
it. I
Interstellar.
Yeah.
fucking knew it.
yeah.
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 Um, it's one of those movies that I do think everyone needs to see. But again, you need to pay attention while you watch it. Like more so than any of his other films, you need to really be paying attention more to this. But there's a lot to say if you want to dig more, dig for messages, and I think the movie, I think the experience rewards you for doing that, and I think it really does enhance the movie overall. So yeah, I'd say a low tune in.
Jenna.
It's. I agree that it's character driven. I just wish there was more to the character arcs.
Mm.
Um, it's not a testament to the acting. The acting is fine. It's a testament to, and when I mean background, I just want to clarify. I don't need like predictable CW. My daddy left me scenes. I was actually thinking about how they really should have. Really, I would have actually liked to see more scenes of them as children. But I don't know how he feels about child actors because that is a thing that, as a director, kids are hard to direct. So I can understand why you may not want to include children. But I think that I would have liked to see more of that setup with Daniel Kaluuya dynamics with his father, and then with Kiki Palmer, and like just set that up a little bit more versus just like these quick little information bits that we get. For me, if you're gonna make it character driven, then I need to be anchored by your two main characters, and I need to be able to connect and relate, especially them being black. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's like Lena Waithe was a little tone deaf with her new movie. I don't know what's going on with the new blacks in Hollywood, but I'm gonna need y'all to reel it in because to be honest with you, I
Oh,
still keep. But I'm just being real. Like I'm just gonna be honest. Like I write film, I do film, I make film. So to me, it's just like I can't wait to work with someone like Jordan Peele and to be able to be like, hey, how about you write it or go about this way in a creative way? Because I think Jordan Peele is a beautiful, like his directing to me is top notch. He's still one of the best directors we have of this generation personally. Like he's my clearly I like this guy. So
Yeah.
it's not really like it's a bad movie, but for it to be so character driven, but I don't really get that much of a character arc from both your main characters is a bit odd for me personally. But again, it's beautifully shot, IMAX camera. Like Nick said, the cinematographer, I'm not going to butcher your name, but it gave me Christopher Nolan vibes, which is why I was like, I knew it. Because it seemed like, I didn't know if he did his other films, but it did give me kind of like someone who understands how to capture atmospheric, on location type of like set pieces very well. Funny enough, this felt almost like a bottle film sometimes because you kind of see the same scenery over and over again,
Mm.
but it doesn't get redundant because it's just so pretty. But yeah, I still think People Under the Stairs is probably as best as we're gonna get when it comes horror social commentary. But this is definitely a thriller. Hats off to all the homages he pays to. Hats off to Jordan Peele and his crew. They did an amazing job. To me, I don't think this is his strongest film, but I think this is like his baby. I can tell this is his baby. So it's nothing but respect. But for me, it's a nope.
For real.
I just want to say, yeah, it's a no for me, dog. Just because it just feels very bloated. That Gordy side plot go on for too damn long. Like I got it too. Please don't explain it to me. I got it. Trust me, I
Oh,
got it.
people are
Um,
still missing the message though, so clearly
but
it's
I
not.
got it. But it was just like, honey, that could have been summed up in 10 minutes. We did not need the first half of the film. Like, girl, we could have used that to explore the dynamics of the group. Because I love Angel actually. He was actually my favorite character.
Yeah.
He was pretty funny, especially when he started talking about his girlfriend. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was pretty great.
It was
It's
like it has great moments in this film. It's not a bad movie, but it's definitely not. I guess I went in expecting a little funny enough, a little bit more character arcs from the main characters. I think that's where I'm sitting at. Like I kind of wish he gave me more so I could feel more connected to these characters since they represent so much of like how I feel about being in the industry. So for me, I'm gonna give this a low tune in as well. I wouldn't say stream it just because you do need to see
oh,
that. No, because for me, it's like I normally wouldn't support watching a film just for its visuals, but goddamn, this movie is pretty. And I think there's another film that Christopher Nolan's coming out with called Oppenheim or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Opener.
also shot on IMAX cameras. So you're gonna get a lot of these films that are being shot on IMAX cameras that are gonna look absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I just hope that they don't sacrifice character arcs, okay, or like pacing and editing for visuals. Like we can have it all, kids. We really can.
Yeah.
hey, the black people had names in this fucking movie.
They do,
Like,
but that's what's sad. It's like I don't, you know what? And that's a testament because I don't even remember the main characters' names. That should tell you something, y'all. Just a heads up. Like I don't. There was no connection. I had no connection to these characters whatsoever.
again,
So,
they had names. I'm sorry, does John David Washington have a name in Tenet? No, no, he does.
oh, Tenet was. Let me not.
Fuck Tenet.
Tenet was girl.
Just
Bye.
saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
Fuck Tenet.
Yeah, fuck Tenet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, girl, what the fuck? Complicated for complicated sake. No.
Yeah. So for me, I think I'm a little bit more positive than Jenna is. Like I said, I think visually it's a gorgeous movie. I think also you have to appreciate that, hey, Jordan Peele's a guy that's making original content, and he's putting a movie out in the summer that's not a sequel. It's not a superhero movie. That's not based on anything already. So you have to, kind of also admire that and like that a little bit. But the spectacle of it, I think, is also nice. I mean, some of the action scenes, I'm going to call them in this movie, are exciting and they are tense, and there's a lot of tension throughout the movie.
Good.
That really builds up very, very nicely. Listen, it's a movie that you're going to have to see for yourself, and really, and you're going to probably think vastly different. It's a movie that's going to have a wide range of opinions. If some people hate it, some people love it, some people think it's 10 out of 10, some people think it's a 1 out of 10, some people think it's just a 5 out of 10. Some people might say it's the best movie of 2022. It's going to have a variety of different opinions all across the spectrum. But it's just a movie you got to see for yourself, because it's, you're going to come out and go like, hey, you're going to have your own opinion on it, form your own opinion about it. Some stuff really worked and some stuff just really didn't. When they did the chapter stuff in this movie, I didn't know when one chapter was ending or one chapter was beginning. That was kind of confusing to me. But I really kind of want to go see it again for a second time, just to get a better sense out of it. And discussing Jordan Peele just as a director a little bit, A lot of people, people say that he's the new M Night Shyamalan, or some people say he's the new, Hitchcock or whatever.
Don't do him like that.
Um,
Don't do him.
I think, I love Sixth Sense. I like Unbreakable. I think Get Out is better than anything M Night Shyamalan's ever made. I think Us is.
Yeah, he's a way more competent director.
Yeah, I
Way
think
more
he's better.
competent.
Even just with M Night Shyamalan's new movie Old, I thought, I think again had some good,
Okay, let's go. Let's not.
I think he
Come
did
on.
good concepts, but that just kind of just went nowhere for
Old
me.
is so bad, and I wanted to like old, but that
Me
gets
too.
rapey real quick, and you're just like, please stop, please take the off ramp for the love of God, M Night.
Yeah.
It's yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's
but
a weird movie.
yeah, so for me, I would give this movie a slight tune in for me right now. Just a tune in right now. Kind of in the middle range of a tune in, not low tune in, not high tune in, just kind of just with the middle tune in for me.
But that's so crazy that we all said all that. We basically land in the same spot anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's a testament to, that's why I said it's not a bad film. I'll never be like, fuck that movie. But I think people are a little they're ball playing a little
yeah.
too hard for me.
Don't be like that
Personally.
dude
I
on
don't
Twitter who said that Jordan Peele was the best horror director ever, and then even he had to say like, "Okay, hey man, put down the
Even
phone."
Peel was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
chill out, man."
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Calm it
let's.
down.
Yeah, I mean that guy acted like a Nathan, whatever. But look, not everyone. Let's not put that on Peel. Let's just let the motherfucker
Yeah.
direct.
yeah,
Like
Right?
we don't need the next fill in the blank. We just need the next great black director, next great whatever. We don't need
Yeah.
it to be the next Spielberg or whatever. Like we need to stop putting that on people.
Just need another director who's directing original movies, making his own vision out there. That's what we need. He doesn't have
Like
to be the next Hitchcock, M Night Shyamalan,
No, he doesn't
Spielberg.
have to be the next Hitchcock, Spielberg, Shyamalan. He doesn't even need to be the next John Carpenter. He just needs to be Jordan Peele.
Yeah.